What's up, listeners of the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast? A song of the day is In My Mind, officially known as Silent Night by The Temptations. Shout out to my fourth grade teacher, Miss Head, for keeping her fourth grade students cultured and exposed to all of the Temptations Christmas classics and other older R&B Christmas renditions. Please, everyone listening, keep your babies, your children, your teenagers, anybody you know in the know of these songs. It's important. It's historical. It's cultural. It's seasonal, and it's heals nations. Okay, so if this is your first time listening, thank you for trying this pod out. This is the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast, and I here discuss a little bit of everything and so much of nothing. This podcast reveres randomness and reviews a smorgasbord of topics with a myriad of theories and perspectives, sprinkled with my interpretations and opinions of it all. I'm Fee, and I'm Mary. You're listening to me. Thank you. If you did not know, December is Merry Merchants Month. It's so happy Merry Merchants Month. Yay. It's a local community initiative to encourage shopping with small local businesses, different states and sites and cities, will create markets and sites to encourage commerce, essentially. This December, of course, as you know, if you've been listening to the pod, I've been doing my part by trying to drop some small businesses I've come across that I find interesting, or just in general that I find. And also, I just love promoting and supporting and encouraging people to shop with small businesses. Small businesses rock. I encourage people to shop with them. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. So you can check out the ones that I've shared on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Twitter. And today I have 3 more. So the first one is Vintage Vanity Cosmetics. You can go to vintagevanitycosmetics.com to indulge in cosmetics that are inspired by vintage glamour, beauties, nostalgia with Southern charm. If that's what you love, do it. Shop with them. Okay, the next one is Love on Fire Candy. Love on Fire Candles Co. It's loveonfirecandles.com. If you love looking for, shopping for, smelling great, get you some candles, room sprays, diffusers, incense, and accessories of the sort, they got you. And love is spelled L-U-V. Again, these websites will be posted on Blue Sky, Facebook, and Twitter. Support them. Okay, and lastly, the last one is that a double positive? Lastly, the last one, great. Station 1923 Rubs and Seasonings. Station1923.com. They sell all-in-one seasoning blends crafted to make it easier for you to cook at home. I've heard of this company many times before. I don't know if y'all have. They're on several like business, small business lists, black business, small business lists, etc. And I'm excited to personally try this one in particular. Okay. And so let's take a moment for our metaphysical talkings. If you're not familiar with the podcast, of course, this podcast, again, discusses a myriad of things. And one of those things is metaphysical things, crystals, incense of the light. Yes, we like to get into it. So this is that moment. No crystal or stone for this month, of course, but you can always go and support, again, small businesses I posted in the past, All right, I know that's right. In the past, and support them with their things. But what I do want to talk about is incense of the season. Remember, we're doing season for now. I like to switch it up a little bit. Okay, incense for the season. Never tried it before. Okay, pine. It is a cleansing incense used as protection through the winter season. It soothes and relaxes the respiratory system while stimulating physical activity. It strengthens and heightens, or it strengthens, period, and it heightens spiritual awareness. I'm excited to burn pine incense myself because, again, I never have before. I just knew that I wanted to do pine because I'm like, that's a great scent for winter, for December, etc., January. Let's do it. Okay. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with who will, in general, the Christmas histories, her stories, etc. It's a lot. It's a lot. One thing about it is people have to remember, in particular, Christmas is a Christian holiday. Yes, culturally, in many places that are, I don't want to say church and state is mixed, but it is. But anyway, in most places where Christianity is the primary religion of choice, Christmas is celebrated in a cultural sense as well as a religious sense. Okay, so if you're familiar with Saint Nicholas, you know that people will interchangeably say Saint Nicholas, Saint Nick, or Santa Claus, or they'll say Klaus. It just depends. Again, it depends on where you're going. And again, all this is Eurocentric. Okay, this is focused from the Europeans and what they built. Okay, of sorts. All right. So I'm not gonna do an in-depth. And I don't know. Have I done? I don't even know because I didn't even usually I try to review back on the episodes around this season or any season to try to see like what have I talked about. I don't even remember talking about any particularities, but I'm sure I did. But for today, we're not going to get too deep in the particularity. On a on a surface level, my goodness. On a surface level, we can talk about how Saint Nicholas was a priest, he was a Christian, and he was around during a time frame where Christians were being persecuted. Yes, if you can believe it, it was happening. All right. It was during many times AD, BC, but this was during the Romans emperor, the Roman Empire kind of ruling over the areas, if you will. And I think the area where he was in particular, actually, believe it or not, is Turkey. Yay. So that was what it was back then, and that was what it would be today. So Saint Nicholas, Saint Nick was this guy, this priest, this man who was about helping the people. And he was imprisoned and he got out and he was just trying to help the people, the children, the former thieves, the prisoners that he had shared company with. And apparently during that time also, it was so crazy that they had locked up so many priests and things that the murderers and the rapists, etc., were out and about. Which, again, if you are a person who's familiar with the Christian sect, Christianity, you know that this could happen. And, it happens sometimes. And we're celebrating a man, well, maybe you're not, but the celebration of Christmas itself is to honor a man who, in fact, also in a different time frame of the year was crucified in the place of a criminal. So it's all coming together, I guess you could say, right? Anyway, but this is his birthday. And this is the day that he was allegedly, quote unquote, born. And so basically Saint Nicholas ties into that, helping and gifting in secret. And again, I'm not going to get into depth, but I did, of course, on social media, Blue Sky, Facebook, and Twitter, release that little snippet I loved, because this is the first time I've seen an article where it really went through the historical implications as well as the history of the man himself, right? So anyway, this man, this tale, this myth, if you will, because we really don't know. I don't know. Do you? You don't know that man. But it evolved to Santa Claus. And let's just be honest, that's a whole nother story in itself. But really what I wanted to talk to you all, beautiful listeners and wonderful people of the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast, is 6 to 8 black men. And I know you're wondering, what does that have to do with Saint Nick or Santa or Christmas? Well, you're in for a treat. Shout out to Jessica Oline. You know, I always pretty much like Jessica's, but I really love that she did this and released this article on slate.com. And it was released, I believe, in 2011. Okay. And this article is titled, "In Holland, Santa Doesn't Have Elves. He has slaves. The racist Christmas time tradition Dutch people have begun fighting about." Okay, so let's start off. Because, you know, I love, as a black woman Southern, a good history on black people amongst the diaspora, to be quite frank. It doesn't matter what's going on. But if they're black, I got to know the historical implications of a holiday, a season, a time, a moment. Okay, so the article starts, "As a newcomer to the Netherlands, I did many things wrong. I forgot to bring gifts to dinner parties. I thank people too profusely and often speak too personally with people I just met. But no slip up has provoked a more troubled response than when I brought up my concerns about Santa Claus. Here's what comes to me, or concerns me. In Holland, Santa, Sinterklaas, and just so y'all know, excuse me to any Dutch person, European person, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce nothing, apparently. So y'all stuff is included, okay? So just know that it doesn't matter really, because this is a serious subject and you'll see the gist. Anyway, so her concerns, Jessica, were that she was in Holland and what's going on with Santa Claus? What's happening? And so she's like, in Holland, Santa, or Sinterklaas, as he's known to the Dutch, doesn't have reindeer. He has a little helper named Zwart Piet, literally Black Pete, okay, who charms children with peppernoten cookies and a kooky demeanor while horrifying foreign visitors with his resemblance to Little Black Sambo. Yes, that's right. And if you are a follower of the podcast and you are on following the social media accounts, you'll see the article, and it's a blatant picture of a person, a human being in Holland in blackface. Each year on December 5th, the morning before the Feast of St. Nicholas, children all over the country wake up excited for gifts and candy, while thousands of adults go to their mirrors to apply brown or black paint with red lips. In their Black Pete costumes, they fill central Amsterdam and small village streets, ushering in the arrival of Sinterklaas, who is in the Dutch tradition riding a flying white horse. Trying to tell a Dutch person why this image disturbs you will often result in anger and frustration. Otherwise mature and liberal-minded adults may recoil from the topic and offer a rote list of reasons why Black Pete should not offend anybody. He is not even a black man. Many will tell you he is just black because he came down the chimney. Then you may reply, why aren't his clothes dirty? As the history of Black Pete makes clear, that chimney suit explanation doesn't wash. Black Pete, or his immediate ancestor anyway, was introduced in 1845 in the story St. Nicholas and His Servant, written by an Amsterdam school teacher named Jan Snackerman. In the story, Sinterklaas comes from Spain by steamship, bringing with him a black helper. I think you all know what a black helper is, of African origin. The book was wildly popular, and with it began the inclusion of Santa's helper in Dutch Christmas festivities. It wasn't until later the century that he was given the name Pete. At the time, the Dutch Empire spread across 3 continents and included the colonies of Suriname and Indonesia. I know I'm pronouncing Suriname wrong. I'm sorry. The Dutch were deeply involved in the slave trade. Oh, were they? Okay. One could even say they were the original slave traders. But I digress. The Dutch were deeply involved in the slave trade, both transporting African slaves to be sold and using slave labor to work coffee and sugar plantations in their colonies. Minstrel shows were popular form of entertainment. Nowadays, Sinterklaas comes to Holland by steamship in mid-November of each year. He is played by a national beloved actor, and his arrival is a live televised event that kicks off holiday season, much like the Macy's Day Parade in the United States. The city bestowed the honor of hosting Sinterklaas' arrival each year. This year, which was 2011, on November 12th, as Sinterklaas prepped to make his grand entrance, a published poet and artist and a master's student in women's studies at the University was born in 1884 as the former Dutch colony of Curaçao and raised in Saint Martin. He was to something last month wearing a homemade t-shirt censored with the word Black Pete is racism. Okay. An action that quickly led to his arrest. Yes. Though he was later demanded to know why, no specific law was cited. This man came to the Netherlands with his mother for the first time in 1987. He was never really noticed. He says he never really noticed that Black Pete during his first few visits in the country, but one day his mother came home from work in shock because the receptionist had called her the office's own Black Pete as she entered the building. Ever since, the character has appeared throughout his poetry and artwork. I tell people, I'm not angry. I just find it sad that you don't know what it means, and I'm here to tell you, he says. I'm going to try to pronounce his name. Gario, I just don't know. Began making t-shirts like the one he wore and photographing people wearing them on the street and posting them to a Tumblr page. Several weeks ago, again, this is 2011, as he stood among the crowds waiting for Sinterklaas in one of his t-shirts, Gario and a companion were approached by a police officer who told them they would have to leave. When Gario asked for a reason, citing his freedom of speech, he says he was tackled to the ground. The video of the arrest shows Gario squirming on the pavement. Mind you, y'all, this is Holland, Amsterdam. I didn't do anything as the two officers hold him down. He was pepper sprayed and pushed into a doorway where an officer held him by the neck and rubbed the pepper spray into his eyes and nose. And he was then taken into custody along with a researcher and journalist who had accompanied them to record their presentation. The Dutch often say they don't have a problem with race. But the way Gario and many others I talk to see it, in the Netherlands, race is inextricably connected to immigration, something many Dutch people do openly have a problem with. As suggested by the rise of the politicians, as Geert Wilders, who has expressed a deep distrust of immigrants, has called for closed borders. Okay, now we get into different specifics. Gario is not the only artist and activist making issue out of Black Pete. In 2008, Petra Barr and Annette Krauss organized a march as a part of an exhibition exploring the meaning of Black Pete. When the media caught wind of this exhibition, the artist received death threats. And the Van Ab Museum in another city that I cannot pronounce canceled the march. Since the 1960s, changes to the tradition have given the Black Pete a more respectable and friendly position in Holland's holiday theatrics. In 1968, Hoofpiet was introduced. He is a leader in charge of all the other Black Petes. And since that time, other Petes have been introduced as well. There is a Pete in charge of navigation, a Pete who wraps presents, another Pete who is charged of the pepper Newton cookies. Small changes in the outward appearance of the characters have been made. Earrings are no longer as common, and wigs have become more curly in texture rather than coarse and frizzy, which, I mean, semantics, I guess. In the past, Black Pete often had a cerise Surumps. Oh goodness, help us all. Help me with my pronunciation. Suriname accent and played the role of a bumbling fool. But now, during the major televised arrival of Santa Claus, at least one hooded Pete plans and organizes while another Pete acts silly, working the crowd that gathers in the streets. The awkwardness of this attempted shift toward a kinder, gentler Black Pete is amusingly captured by David Sedaris in 628 Black Men, first published in Esquire and collected in the book Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. While Black Petes were once openly characterized as personal slaves, Sedaris writes now they are described as just good friends. I think history has proven that something usually comes between slavery and friendship, a period of time marked not by cookies and quiet times beside the fire, but by bloodshed and mutual hostility. It is possible that a period of mutual hostility has now come to Holland. In the past few weeks, news outlets like the left-leaning newspaper Pronounce It Here have begun to cover the subject with a flurry of opinion pieces. Earlier this week, an activist who was born in South America and lives in Amsterdam spoke with Latoya Peterson of Slate's sister, which is Slate is the website that I'm reading from, who writes the articles, a sister site of The Root, about the racism of Black Pete's figure. For the moment, at least, it looks as though Gaudio's arrest has helped to enlarge the conversation he and others have been asking to join for some time. Now, how do y'all feel about it? I can hear you, and that's what I thought. A mess. Okay, so here's to 25 facts for Christmas. You know, like on the 12 days of Christmas, my true love gave to me, but we don't have time for that. What we do know is that the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast discusses, again, a smorgasbord of topics. And one of my favorite things, and hopefully one of yours, is random facts. Things to learn. Learning is good. Do it, even during the Christmas season. Okay, so 25 facts for Christmas. Number 1, bats are the only mammal that can fly. Number 2, chocolate is not an ingredient in Reese's Pieces. Okay. Number 3, Madagascar has settled or was settled by a small population of no more than 30 women, and they were the ancestors of the native Malagasy. A bee flaps their wings. Number 4, a bee flaps their wings 200 to 3,000 minutes. Okay, let me just slow the hell down. Okay. Oh my goodness. A bee flaps their wings 200 to 300 times per second. That is translated to 11 to 15,000 times per minute. Okay, my goodness. Number 6, Saturn rings are only 10 to 100 million years old, which coincides with the next fact. Sharks are 450 million years old. Number 7, the last surviving grandchild of the 10th U.S. President, John Tyler, died in May of this year, 2025. Wow. Number 8, each year, 22,000 tons of dust from the Sahara Desert are carried by air currents to the Amazon rainforest. It is important that this happens because the dust is a source of phosphorus, for its tropical plants. Wow, I love this one. Okay, and I love this one as well. Number 9, when Harriet Tubman was born, Thomas Jefferson was alive. And when Harriet Tubman died, Ronald Reagan was 2 years old. Wow, what is time? Number 10, 7-Up contained lithium citrate up until 1948. My goodness, might need some of that though. All right, number 11, since 2007, watermelon, that's right, watermelon has officially been the state vegetable for Oklahoma. Okay. Number 12, months that begin on a Sunday will contain a Friday the 13th. Personally, I love 13 Fridays. Okay, number 13, the earliest recording of the concept speed dating is 1996. Isn't that crazy? That's very young. I was 6. Number 14, the kissing gourmet fish. Kiss as a means to fight. Kissing is the process of testing their patience. The first one to loosen its mouth fails and is defeated. My goodness. Number 15. There are now over 15 million empty homes in the United States of America and 771 and 500,000 homeless people. And that translates to 20 houses per person of those homeless persons. Yeah. Number 16. There are 51,000 known species of spiders. My goodness. I love spiders though. Number 17. Ray Bradbury, you know the writer, was a designer on the Spaceship Earth park attraction at Disney's Epcot. And he was besties with Disney. Number 18. France admitted in a letter to Senegal that in 1944 they massacred 400 Senegalese troops who defended them in World War II because they requested higher wages. My goodness. Number 19. Turtles inhabit every continent on the globe except Antarctica and the temperate oceans. Number 20. Bananas are technically classified as berries. Wow. Number 21. You are more likely to be bit by another person than a shark this year. Number 22. New Zealand, Ireland, and Greenland, and Iceland do not have snakes. So do with that what you will when you're on your way to travel. Number 23. If you earned $1 every second, it would take 2,921 years to have more money than Bill Gates. Congratulations. 24. In December of not 19, but damn near shit, it should have been. In December of 1865, states Delaware and Kansas were officially the last states to mandate notification that slavery was over. And number 25, one of my top 10 favorite facts. Even if 99% of Earth's population thought you were unattractive, 76 million would still find you attractive. All right, so quote of the day is, grief I've learned is really just love. It is all the love you want to give but cannot. All of that unspent love gathers in the corners of your eyes, the lump in your throat, and the hollow part in your chest. Grief is just love with no place to go. That quote is by writer Jamie Anderson. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, which I love quickly, is something beautiful that's happening actually. And it is the Buddhist monks walking across the country. I don't know if you've heard this, but in October of this year, a group of 19 Buddhist monks and a dog, okay, they have a dog, and I'll get into it later, set off for a 2,300-mile trek across the United States, beginning in Fort Worth, Texas, with the final destination of Washington, D.C. Their mission: to spread a message of peace, unity, and healing. The journey, or peace walk as the monks call it, is expected to span about 120 days, concluding in February, where they plan to host a gathering at the United States Capitol, sharing remarks about healing and unity with the public. With hearts anchored in calmness and minds set firmly on their purpose, the monks move forward step by step, embodying peace, resilience, and unwavering determination on their sacred path towards the White House. A social media post read after their first day of pilgrimage. During this trek, the monks will be walking through at least 10 states, y'all, making stops at the state government buildings and communing with locals, sharing reflections on compassion, unity, and all of the good stuff amid social and political division. Supporters can track the journey online, and social media posts shares updates from each stop. Many posts show local gatherings where people feed the travelers, provide medical care, because I don't know if y'all have seen pictures, and I don't even know if y'all keeping up with it, but the monks, some of them are walking barefooted. It's crazy. And these people also come to share water, food, and the other essentials with the group. Okay, you have a leader, and again, I can't pronounce their names, and they're just so wonderful of a group of people. I'm not even going to attempt it. How about that? Okay, so you have a leader who is the vice president of the center in which this was formed, and he, with his other peoples, are rocking this thing. Okay, in this journey, they have two senior monks. One is 70 years old. excuse me, y'all, from Laos. And they also have monks that have joined in as they're traveling through these states. And of course, though they can't stay, but because that was, I don't think that's, their sole mission. And that's just an assumption at this point. But that I'm saying, but they do have monks that join in and out. And people also will join in and out. Now, let's get back to this dog. I think this story is so cute. And anybody, all people, we love a good animal human connection story. You know what I'm saying? When animals be like to walk amongst us basically, or do things with us, and you can tell that there's like a similar pattern that the animal is bonding with the human because of like a soul purpose, or they have a passion that they both enjoy, etc. Okay, so the monks walk with minimal possessions, clad in orange robes and carrying walking sticks. But one member of the group stands out among the rest, a rescue dog named Aloka. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. On a similar peace walk in India, one of the monks found Aloka. Okay, and this dog does have his own social media account, of course. Okay, so they found him in India when they were walking 112 days in India. He followed them the whole time. This monk calls him a true hero. During this time, Aloka fell sick and was even hit by a car, but he still stood up and walked. This is in India, y'all. Okay, and so even when the monks tried to put him back on a truck and let him go to safety, the dog refused. He jumped off and he wanted to walk, and that inspired them. So now Aloka is with the group as they journey across the U.S., walking every day and resting in tents and sleeping on mats every night. I brought him here and he's a U.S. citizen now, the monk joked. Every one of us loves him so much. Okay, and so I just wanted to share that with you. Again, the articles are all posted on the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast, Black Sky, that too, Blue Sky, Facebook, and Twitter. Okay, please go check out those articles. I think it's amazing what the monks are doing. It's beautiful. I think they're coming closer to Georgia. They were just in Alabama like a few days ago. And so, if you see it again, you can, wherever you go, whether it's Google or any social media platform, you can look it up and you can follow them, their paths and things. And you can actually be in their path and help them, give them medical care or some water, or a hug, or talk to them, whatever you want to do. It's beautiful, and I love this, and that's something good to discuss during this holiday season, especially if we talked about something so dark that messy ass Dutch people and Holland people and Amsterdam people are doing. My goodness. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. When your head is in the clouds, there's something sweet to think about. Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas or Xmas to you.